through some of these difficult times of leadership in our nation. Help us and help those leaders. In that name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, I'm recording. Okay. Let's see here. Some club business. There's nothing to see on the screen. Right now, the people at the remote end are.
You're blocking it.
There's nothing to see there. Just hold on. Some club business. One of the things is we're going to have a board meeting tomorrow, and you should all have an invite from me. And essentially, the board meeting is open to anyone. We're open to good ideas. We're going to have a club assembly here in a couple of weeks. And that's kind of one piece of business. We're trying out a new email system, which you should all be trying out. The nice thing, the nice thing about the email system is we can see a better idea of who's actually, I'm gonna take this off for now, who's actually be able to read the emails. And we can find out who's reading and who's not. It's kind of nice. And we can actually invite guests. For example, Senator Eckhardt, if you'd like to be, of course, you'd like to be a Rotary Club of Bastrop County member, you're cordially invited. Same with you. We could actually have a guest because we hopefully have some good programs. Next piece of business, we have one of the major projects been the Bastrop Rotary Club of Bastrop County help of the Bastrop Veterans and Shelter, Transitional Shelter. And I think that's getting into a pretty good state of completion. Is there any new updates from Jim or Michael on that?
As far as I'm concerned, it's done.
I think it is kind of done. Now, in the spirit of what to do next, right after this meeting, a couple of us, like Jim Berkner and myself, are going to go to Pastor Nava's shelter, talk to them about what could be next, one of which could be hydroponics as a project. You know, you've heard of, teach a man to fish, and you'll feed him forever, give a man a fish and feed him for a day. So we're going to go meet with Pastor Navas. He's going to arrange for some of those people. Right after this meeting, we're going to go over there to talk to them about that. And also we'd like to do some publicity. Like a newspaper article. We do good stuff here in the Rotary Club, and it'd be nice to know because we're kind of covert, which is great if you're the CIA, not so good if you're a Rotary Club. So anyhow, that's all the business I can think of. Does anyone else have anything else? Oh, one more thing.
I think I see a visitor. I see someone whom I do not know on the screen. Keisha Walcott.
Keisha works for me.
Hi, yes, I'm Keisha Walcott. I'm the district director for Senator Eckhardt. So I'm glad to be.
Oh, fantastic. Well,
welcome.
That's terrific. Well, this is the new normal. Not ideal, but the beauty is, how was the commute getting here?
That's okay. It's all right. We're willing. Whenever this is all over, we're willing.
That's it. Someday it'll be good.
Yes.
The other thing is we want to have a fundraiser, and it's probably going to be a pay-bee. And then so Mike Goebel and Susan Wendell are kind of the leaders, but it's distinctly a group effort. So we want to have people involved. In essence, it should not be a typical onerous task, but we need people to volunteer. So we just need Susan and Michael. We need essentially a first meeting. If you can propose a date for your committee meeting, I'll set up a Zoom link, and whatever you say is a good day and time just to meet, because we do. That's fine. What Susan said for the hearing. Susan said that she and Mike will confer, come up with a date, and then we'll send it out, and it'll be a Zoom thing, of course, and then whoever can show up, show up. But again, we're looking for it to be a group effort. It's a virtual gala, which in essence can be kind of simple. What they've done is, this was actually pointed out to me by Mike Goebel's wife, who said the Audubon Society, which of course is much bigger than our club, raised a whole bunch of money, and it's not a whole lot of work. what you need is you need donations. So one of the things for all the club members, think about who can donate what, and think about experiences, not so much things you can buy at Walmart or Amazon, experiences. Like I have a business and I'll donate something. So anyhow, when they convene that get together, we'll need people to collaborate.
Yeah, we'll have a meeting in a few days to try to get that going. And some of the things we'll be thinking about, and some of the things I would like the members to be thinking about as well, and give me your input, is if we've been calling it Men Who Cook for years because that's what it is. That's the franchise. We get local business people and chefs to cook meals, and everybody gets to sample all the food. It's a great affair. So one thing to think about, are we going to still use that Men Who Cook this year since men won't be cooking, or do we change it something? Maybe something like Still Cooking, and we'll have an entree say, we love bringing men who cooked to you for the last number of years. We can't do it this year, but Bastrop Rotary is still cooking, and we're going to have this virtual event and go from there. We talked about a date. Somebody had said Valentine's Day. I think that was a joke. I don't think Valentine's Day would be a good day for this event. Even during the pandemic, being at home, I think I'll be doing something else besides going to an auction. So I think our sweet spot's going to be February, all the Saturdays from February 27th to May 1st. So we'll start thinking about what conflicts might be on those Saturdays and try to come up with our best date. And I think being a little bit later this year is not necessarily a bad thing for us, because we're going to be trying to sell experiences, and selling an experience to somebody in November who has no chance of probably doing that experience for 9 to 12 months, that's not that exciting. But with the things we've learned in the last couple of days, with apparently vaccines on the way, selling somebody an experience in March of next year when maybe they can use it in 3 to 6 months, that's a totally different proposition, I think. So I think it could work to our advantage. And, we could say with the cooking theme, and we could get, gift cards from local restaurants. Maybe some restaurants would be able to donate 10 meals as a bundle, and you bid for these 10 meals from Maxine's or someplace like that. Fast food is gold for another 6 months. If you could get a Chick-fil-A or Kentucky Fried Chicken or Domino's Pizza, give you a $250 gift card, I think a lot of people would find that very useful for the next 6 to 9 months. I know I would. Love that Chick-fil-A. Things I think we've done in the past, we'll talk about that as a team. Don't remember how they worked out. Maybe you could get a local chef to come to a home and cook for 6 or 8 people, and you have a meal there, and you could bid on packages like that. Maybe we could get HEB to give us a $500, $1,000 gift card. Be very useful over the next year. So things like that, experiences. We have all our art people here in town. Maybe we can get some artwork donated. Maybe in the way of an experience. Maybe somebody would donate a portrait. Maybe one of the artists would be willing to paint your portrait or paint a portrait of your family. That's a possibility. We just need to think outside the box. Maybe we could set up with the city. Maybe you can bid for the right to ride on the fire engine in the Christmas parade. Maybe that's something.
That's an interesting idea.
Maybe Rotary puts them in a float. Maybe we build a float for them, and they're in the Christmas parade in a float. So we'll start thinking about stuff like that we can do, and we'll be back to you.
That's some good ideas there, Mike. Coming up with a name and coming up with a date. The nice thing is, from business standpoint, like I have a business, Scope of Our Services, I'm going to donate a custom themed hayride in our 105-acre ranch, and then you have a nice meal at the end. People are into experiences. Everyone's been cooped up. Is there anyone who's not tired of being cooped up anymore?
We'll do a weekend at the Hampton.
There you go. Here we have a spontaneous offer for a weekend at the Hampton. Staycation. There you go. Staycation. Okay, Hampton Inn. We'll sign you up. Well, splendid. Mike, that sounds like some fine ideas. We'll look for some you and your vast committee.
Vast.
Well, half vast.
Half vast.
Okay, if there's no other business, let's get on to our program. One of the themes of our program.
Norman, we have one more new name on my screen. Peter Einhorn. Is he part of your staff, Senator?
Yes. Peter is my chief of staff. I thought it would be valuable to have some folks from my staff so that you could familiarize yourself with their faces and their names. So I'm so glad you know.
Tell him to show his face.
Anyhow, that's great. We're glad to have you. What we're doing, by the way, Senator Eckhardt, is assuming it's okay with you. I don't know if you have slides or not, but we're doing is we're recording this and we'll post it to our YouTube, so it'll exist in posterity. We're recording this meeting and to Zoom, and we'll post it to YouTube if that's okay. And then then your words of wisdom can be shared for posterity.
Well, thanks so much. I'm looking forward to you all's words of wisdom and hearing from you all what my assignments are as your senator.
Well, basically we have big hopes. These are amusing times for politicians. One of the priority areas for our Rotary Club of Bastrop County is local governments and organization. In one sense, the more local it is, all this nonsense going on at the presidential level is all going to, we actually have no say in that stuff. But local government officials, so we've had Judge Poppy, we've had Mayor Schrader and the city manager. There's good stuff going on locally, and frequently people don't know. So we'll do what we can, and we're trying to at least share what's going on. That's one of our missions of our club is to, if you're doing good work, help spread the gospel. So anyhow, that's all I have to say, Senator Eckhardt and her staff. Welcome, congratulations, and over to you.
Thank you so much. It's really great to see you all. Well, I am your new senator at the state level, up in the Capitol, which is kind of like an abandoned space station right now. But it's really so great to see you all. I'll give you just a quick rundown of. I mean, all of y'all have lived through the campaign season, so I will bore you only momentarily with my 30-second pitch of sort of my values statement that I'm hoping that we can all rally around, which is that I want to work for y'all for effective, efficient, and fair good government. I am a Democrat, but I put good policy above the politics of the moment. And it's certainly nice to have the campaign season in the rear view mirror for that reason. And I believe that we all rally around sort of three big goals of strong families, of shared prosperity, and of local control. We have great local leadership. And when we don't have great local leadership, we know what to do about it. Our community is very engaged and very educated on what we need to have strong families, shared prosperity, and local institutions that really support those goals. So you have my pledge that those are three things that I'm going to work very, very hard on in the Texas Senate. Let me give you some specifics on those particular issues. With regard to families, we need to be focusing on recovering our health from COVID-19, as well as adapting for educational purposes during COVID-19, but also in this new economy, the new broadband economy. So it's very important, both for health and educational economic reasons, that we expand broadband. And I know that Bastrop County has been working on that very, very diligently at the county level. And I really appreciate the Economic Development Office at the county, as well as all the work inside the city of Bastrop, Elgin, Smithville, and our other communities to make that a reality. With regard to shared prosperity, also I have for a long time in my previous role as the Travis County judge looked at economics and shared prosperity from a Central Texas lens. There is no good that can come from communities competing against one another for robust economic prosperity in locally generated businesses, as well as locating businesses. We do better together. We prosper much better from a shared perspective in Central Texas. First, making sure that our local businesses and our local entrepreneurial spirit is strong and supported. And then next, looking at where we might see opportunity gaps and go looking in a very mindful way at the industries that could fill those gaps in a way that sits right with our local communities. A bad graft of a located business won't last. They will pick up roots and leave after their tax abatement is done if it was not a good relationship. And that, I think, is very important for us to recognize. That's something I worked on very hard as a Travis County judge, and I will continue to work on that as a Texas State Senator. And then in terms of local control, also, you have me at hello with regard to local control. I have spent the last 20 years in local government and in local institutions. I believe strongly that government closest to the people is the best government. And also state government and federal government is better for being balanced on the shoulders of those local leaders. I don't consider going to state government as moving up any more than I would consider going to federal government as moving up. These three realms of government must operate collaboratively and cooperatively with respect and understanding for their unique capabilities. And I would include Rotary clubs, homeowners associations, and other institutional pillars at the local level that really build on the preferences of the local community that make good government at the local, state, and federal level possible. So let me give you some other policy specifics in these areas. In the area of healthcare, we've all experienced the trials and tribulations of COVID-19. For the first 6 months of the pandemic, I'm in my attic right now. So y'all can see my attic. I have been working out of my attic since March. And the first 6 months of the pandemic were particularly crazy for me, working 12-hour days from this very hot attic. It is not lost on me or anyone in this Rotary Club that we were not sufficiently prepared from a public health standpoint to address the very serious health issues of COVID-19. We built the plane while it was in the air, and we are in much better shape now than we were back in March. And I believe that the state really needs to take a good hard look, a hot wash, as it were, on what occurred in COVID-19 to make sure that we improve our statewide public health infrastructure. 2/3 of the counties in the state of Texas don't have a public health department. Many of our rural communities have no hospital. It's not just in pandemic that this weighs heavily on the health of families. It's also in regular times that the declining rate of insurance for families, the lack of public health infrastructure, and the difficult economics of hospitals in rural areas is really having a profound effect. And we really need to address that at the state level. Am I going in and out from is my connection good? Okay. So next, from an educational perspective, also, we are most comfortable and probably most nonpartisan when we rally around our public education system. Many of the communities that I've worked with in the past, if I walk in with a party affiliation, there is suspicion. But when I walk in with the school board and talk about how we are educating our kids and what the economies of the future and the job opportunities for our children in the future look like, that's when people get really excited about working together, irrespective of what their party affiliation is. And COVID-19, I think, has really highlighted that. There have been times up at the Capitol when public education has been hyper-partisan, hyper-politicized. I don't think that we can afford to do that any longer. I think broadband is going to be very important to preparing our kids and our adults for the new economy. And I think public education as an institutional pillar has been shown in great, has been spotlighted during this economic downturn as so necessary to the economic stability of families. So
one of the challenges we've had in Bastrop County is, according to the FCC, we have great internet. If you believe that, I have some swampland for you in Florida.
Absolutely. And I think that when the FCC says that, they're talking about fiber connectivity, but there are certain areas of Bastrop County that don't have high enough gig fiber connectivity, and people are relying on wireless. We need to recognize that. We also need to recognize, even where there is good fiber connectivity, some households can't afford the roughly $75 to $100 a month to stay connected, much less the computer equipment necessary to be connected to that fiber internet infrastructure. So we really need to be looking at broadband on multiple levels. One is on the infrastructure level with fiber and wireless. Two is on the household accessibility issue on computers versus cell phones and the cost to stay connected. And then three, we really need to look at the computer literacy aspect for our kids, for our adult population in the workforce who are going to need this computer literacy, but also for our entire population for telehealth purposes. So I think broadband is a great thing for us to rally around. Certainly public health investments are also a very important thing for us to rally around. Also water. I have for a long time worked on both surface and groundwater issues. I am delighted to represent Bastrop County and a piece of the Carrizo-Wilcox. I have in my previous work represented a dry community on the Trinity Aquifer and the Edwards Aquifer portion of the Trinity. I think that it is important for us to have a balanced approach between the aquifers and to have a realistic approach moving forward that preserves the resource and has an appropriate economic viewpoint with regard to water as a resource. It's a common pool resource. We can't live without it. We're terrible at valuing water and air, just terrible at it. And I have and will continue to work with Judge Poppy and with the mayors, as well as our academic institutions in the region, to study appropriately our water sources, surface and groundwater, and make sure that the property right is appropriately preserved and balanced with the community need for drinking water and agricultural uses for the water, as well as industrial uses for the water in some areas. So this is an area that is near and dear to my heart. And I, as a Travis County elected official back in the day, I told Judge Poppy that Travis County should not lead this effort because we are a thirsty county. Bastrop County needs to lead the effort on appropriate water management. The game theory of interests dictate, I believe, that Bastrop County on the Carrizo is the better leader for our region on this issue.
We had Judge Poppy do one of our programs, and one of his points was Bastrop County is blessed with being kind of a source of water, water challenges, and being subject to floods. We got it all.
Yeah. And I'm glad you raised that, because that brings me to another issue that I'm also well versed in and want to continue working with you all at the state level, which is emergency response. Y'all have seen your share. Floods, we've seen our share, whether it's floods, wildfires, horrible wildfires, and also this terrible economic downturn and this health pandemic. We need a better statewide system for emergency response. It can't be all on the shoulders of the locals. Our emergency service districts do their absolute level best in voluntary firemen and firewomen, emergency medical response, as well as our professional emergency responders at the local level. But goodness knows, we absolutely must have a robust state apparatus that can move to where the problem is swiftly. Local leaders need to lead on emergency response, but the state needs to come in and back them up. And the state has really had trouble backing up in local emergencies. Mostly it's been handled through a automatic aid among communities and across communities. And I'm very grateful to have played a role in that automatic aid. Bastrop came to Travis County's rescue in the floods in Eastern Travis County, the back-to-back floods of Eastern Travis County. And I'm deeply, deeply appreciative for that assistance. And then both Bastrop and Travis County moved to Hayes County's aid in the floods in the Wimberley Valley. Neighbors helping neighbors is absolutely important, but the state also needs to come in and help those neighbors when we get exhausted in these events. And so I pledge to you to work on that at the state level as well. With that, I would love to just open it up and hear from you all so that I can get my assignments. Yes, sir.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on winning the election.
Thank you.
Kirk Watson was very popular in this area also, so we hated to lose him. Wish you well for the future, but we're grateful that you won. I'll speak for myself. I didn't have a broad knowledge of what your past was in politics, although after the pandemic began, I got the opportunity to see you on television, often with Mayor Adler, and I was thankful. Now I understand it better than then, but I was thankful that you two were able to work together in a fashion that helped everybody, as opposed to the politics in El Paso County that have kept the mayor and county judge at odds.
Yes.
You mentioned something about the pandemic and dealing with it, and I wish you all the luck in the world, because I know there's a lot of elected representatives that have varying opinions on this subject. But I just wanted to share one thing. A couple of weeks ago, our speaker was Barry Edwards, who was the superintendent of Bastrop Independent School District. And he was asked how it was going with children and faculty so far as wearing face masks. And he said, it's just been unbelievable how children and faculty together don't fight wearing face masks. And in fact, they support each other. They remind each other. And, you know, it just seemed like there should be some lesson there that we could expand a broader community. So I don't know what it is or how you do it, but it was refreshing to hear him say that.
It really is refreshing. I'll tell you that we were not quick enough to respond to COVID-19. We knew it was coming. It was ravaging Asia, and then it ravaged Europe. And then by the time it hit us, we should have been better prepared. We did, at least in Central Texas, act quickly. And I am so appreciative for the cooperation all across the board in our 5-county region. I think this was the first time we have ever seen a local public health authority in one county reach out to a 5-county region, and everyone came in on a coordinated effort. Republican, Democrat, urban, suburban, rural, everyone pulled together and even had joint press conferences initially when we were still having in-person press conferences. And that was so gratifying. The state did not support our region's early actions. And we were concerned, as both Republicans and Democrats, whether our stay-home orders would be reversed at the state level. That in some instances, our actions were reversed, but the community continued doing them because they had come to trust that we were acting in the best interest of the community. And I think that kind of local trust and coordination is so important. You raised the El Paso example. I was on the phone all week long, last week and the week before, with Judge Samaniego of El Paso, who was facing irrefutable evidence of massive spike in his community. And we were brainstorming on how to protect his actions against imprudent state rollback. And I'm happy to say that the judicial branch upheld Judge Samaniego's decision to go to a stay-home order. I'm very, very gratified that the judicial branch is standing by him, even though state leadership is not.
It's froze up. I'm not sure what happened.
This is the result of her having a high schooler at home studying in the dining room. So
I have two high schoolers, my daughter and her friend at the kitchen table studying. You're right. You're so right that the mayor in El Paso was going against the county judge. But county judges, as I was previously, county judges are entrusted with the responsibility of declaring disasters and making appropriate orders, not mayors. That's a common misconception. And so the fact that the mayor was grousing about it is politically important, but actually statutorily, it's the county judge's responsibility.
One other example of collaboration, I participated in something else where it was Watson and Cnty, and in essence, they're saying how we work together. It is so extraordinary. If you can think of some opportunity to say examples of us and our people from across the aisle are forgetting about our partisan differences, and we success story A, B, or C, because we're going to rise and fall together. That'd be nice.
Two of my best allies as a Travis County.
Uh-oh.
she'll be back.
Welcome to the new world.
You're back.
Okay. Two of my closest allies when I was a Travis County judge were Judge Gravel, the Williamson County judge, and Judge Poppy, both of whom are Republicans. But I had excellent working relationships with them. And Representative Cnty and I represented on Campo together when he was a county commissioner. So I have great respect and good working relationships with him as well. Other questions or comments or assignments?
Sometime if you and Cnty would like to do some sort of joint or some sort of examples of collaboration or working together on some specific goal, that'd be fine. Again, local governments are a big deal.
Broadband and water are going to be two issues that Representative Cnty and I work very closely on.
That's a very, broadband and water is a big deal. The haves and the have-nots have gotten further apart. I mean, I have super duper internet in my business, my house, but not everyone's so blessed. Mm-hmm. So if you can think about, those are versatile, big deal topics.
Yes.
Yes, I can't check my email and do this video at the same time.
Right.
One of them, the video will freeze. The pandemic is, of course, the first thing that we really need to deal with, because until it's under some control, there's a lot of things we can't do. But what have you got in mind for strengthening the economy as we begin to trend towards the ability to be out more. We're maybe 6 months away from coming to some sort of new normal with this thing, but the economy, what are your plans? What are you thinking about?
I'm going to be working with the big 8 chambers of commerce across the state of Texas to look at how we can strengthen our local business communities in the midst of the pandemic, and how we can ferry some of our industry sectors that are just so hard hit to the other side of the pandemic in a way that they can rebound on the other side. I think that it's unfortunate, but I do not see a great deal of leadership at the state level on a broad economic recovery plan. So I think looking to our chambers of commerce and working through those chambers of commerce for a clear directive at the local level will perhaps draw out a state plan. I think that some elements of that state plan will certainly include small business supports in order to maintain payroll through the pandemic, and also to keep people on insurance, on employer-based insurance during the pandemic. And I think it will certainly include broadband as a way to weather the storm and make adaptations to businesses. And I think it will also certainly include workforce development and childcare supports for individuals who are moving from one job sector to another in order to keep food on the table.
I'm a personal fan of chambers, and in Bastrop County, we have multiple chambers, and of course, Travis. The way ahead in some sort of joint effort, as opposed to we do things separately, we're not so good. But if we work and play together, then we can embarrass those state guys and say, hey, this is working here.
Exactly. And I go back to my previous statement. Economic development can't be done for just one community, because then they fight against one another. We have to do it in a collaborative fashion so that the local business climate for the city of Bastrop is assisted in a locally flavored way, much as the Smithville small business community is nourished, or the Pflugerville small business community is nourished, or the Austin small business community is nourished. Each has their own specific local flavor, and it's the small businesses, the locally grown businesses that employ the most people in our community.
Good point. I guess like a month ago, we had a joint program by the Smithville and Bastrop Chambers of Commerce leads. And in essence, they have a similar story, but if they have complementary efforts and share resources and events, then some is greater than individual parts.
Absolutely. There are many things that you can get economies of scale from in terms of going after childcare supports at the state level. When you get all of the chambers unified and going to the state saying we need childcare supports so our employees can come back to work if they have children who are preschool aged.
Along those lines, Senator Eckhardt, one thing I would like to share with you, it's just exactly in the vein of what you're talking about. Bastrop Economic Development Corporation funded a study for the impact of Tesla to all of Bastrop County. And the intention is if there may be a desirable for some of their second and third tier, there may be a good fit for Elgin or for Smithville or for Bastrop, but we want them in Bastrop County, and we certainly don't want the municipalities competing for the same vendor. So that study's been completed. It's going to be shared with the other two cities, and we're trying to have a Bastrop County support for that. You are asking for assignments, and as a result of that study, we may find ourselves, I don't think there's any question that broadband is going to be major to that, to be able to provide folks an opportunity to have, be in those support functions. We're also working on a Bastrop Center for, we're doing education, welding, HVAC, plumbing, because there's such a need for that. And so we're going to have an educational center in our industrial park. So if there are opportunities for grants, or if you can help us expand, what we're really trying to do is match up needs that Tesla and their suppliers may have with what we are able to offer in education. So if you can help us with that, that would be wonderful. I really appreciate your comments on local control. I will proudly say I've already texted your chief of staff, and he's already replied to me. So that is a great, good sign, and I appreciate that. We will have some local needs, and there's some specific things that we'll want to visit about, but just really want you to know that in Bastrop County, all of the municipalities work together, and we want to be here to get assignments from you as well, because to your point, working together, the community benefits all the way around.
And I'd love to hear from you all what your experience with the Rural Capital Area Workforce Development Board has been. The 10,000 by 2021 effort inside Travis County was picked up also by the Rural Capital Area Workforce Development Board. And I think that we are well poised because of that to identify the individuals in both Bastrop and Travis County who are seeking to be trained up for those Tesla spinoff type jobs. And I'm very, very excited by that our capital area workforce development apparatus seems very strong. Is that y'all's experience as well?
Absolutely. They've been fantastic. We have a really good working relationship with them. One of the things that they're offering is some funding, and one of our educators has agreed to ACC was going to cut the price so that twice as many people could receive that education, and they're able to get that certification, and simultaneously they can still collect unemployment while they're getting the certification. And with the rural capital workforce, they have an opportunity to get that certification paid for. So it's a win all the way around. But you're exactly right. We absolutely work strongly with them.
I'm very proud to have been, along with the mayor. I was the president of the Capital Area Workforce Development Board in my time as a county judge. And so I really love working with those folks. I think they do a great service. And Keisha Walcott, who's on the call, on the Zoom as well, she's our community liaison for individuals who are seeking services through the Workforce Development Board at the state level. So really feel free to reach out to Keisha if you have a neighbor in need who's trying to figure out unemployment insurance, extension of their health insurance while they're looking for work. Please do reach out to Keisha. She works wonders at the state level. And I look forward to continuing to work with the Capital Area Rural Workforce Development Board.
Great.
And just to piggyback that, I put my email in our chat box, so you guys all have access to my email. If you guys have any questions, like she said, feel free to reach out. If there's anything that we can do for our constituent, we will definitely look for that resource for them. Or again, sometimes it's just a connection to somebody else that they couldn't get to. So that's easy enough to do. So don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Very good. Something along the Tesla line. I mean, our Rotary Club is small potatoes. It'd be nice to have someone, a representative of Tesla, come and talk to our group or multiple groups of, this is what we care about. This is the impact, and I like what kind of employees you're looking for, land, opportunities, and all that stuff. It would be nice. I don't know who anyone at Tesla is other than Elon, but there's someone in between.
And we can definitely facilitate that. Yeah, it's very important that our business institutions are working well with our community institutions and our local governmental institutions. That's how we get the strongest community, not an us versus them, but an all in this together attitude.
I have to say that getting broadband internet connections to rural areas is key in some of the economic success that we want to have, because I don't think people are going to go back to working in their office again, even when we have liberal vaccinations available. I think the whole business community is going to be modified, and they've learned that people can work from home. They don't have to build the building with a bunch of offices in it. And I'm perfectly happy working from home if I just had better internet.
This is a
Did you hear any of
this? This is a tangential issue, but I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts on it. As people grow accustomed to teleworking adaptations, more people will move to Bastrop. So what are y'all's thoughts about land use authority at the county level?
As a trained community planner with a master's in community and regional planning, I had talked to at least one previous judge on a strategic planning committee about that we need to be more regionally oriented in our land use planning. But Texas is a tough place to sell that.
It is, but I have found that even if you can't sell it in statute, if you bring your business, your cultural, and your local governmental entities together on a county-wide land use plan, better yet, on a region-wide land use plan, that people have a tendency to work toward that plan, even if it's not enforceable.
I think it's more probable today than it was 10 years ago, but yes.
Let us not forget that although we're less than 10 square miles, our ETJ is 145 square miles. And that puts a little bit of a different tone and the ability to get some cooperation, because our voluntary ETJ goes all the way to the county line.
In the interim, I would love to work with everyone in the region on that kind of cooperative planning, even though I am well aware that counties will not have zoning, and nor will cities in their ETJ. Right. That's too hard a challenge from a statutory perspective, but I think that business, cultural, and local leaders recognize that we do need to work together to preserve our communities in the face of some pretty significant population shifts that will be occurring over the next decades.
The fact that Bastrop County sits over one of the major water sources in its aquifer that feeds a good bit of west of here, regional planning and understanding how industrial development impacts that water source is key to us being able to survive.
Absolutely. Well, that's definitely on my list for the interim, because like I said, I think I understand the probabilities for land use regulatory authority, but I also understand the probabilities for a community-oriented voluntary effort, and I've seen it work, and I'm so grateful to have seen it work. Well, with that, if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna grab a quick bite before 1 o'clock, if that's all right. I've been cooking up a storm in COVID-19, so my refrigerator is full.
Well, thank you again. What we'll do is, assuming it's okay with you, we have this recording and we'll post it again, assuming it's okay with you. If you'd like to participate in any of our meetings in the future, you don't have to be a full-fledged member. As part of the new normal, our due structure is going down. You bring your own food. So
awesome.
thank you.
Thank you.
Senator, I was gonna throw out there a plug. A week from Thursday, on the 19th of November, the Senator does a series of virtual town halls. They're usually called Policy Pints, where we get together at sort of a cafe or a brewery to talk public policy, but we're doing it virtually right now, obviously. And so we have one on the 19th at 5 p.m. and it's going to be on broadband. We're doing a series on broadband. The first one was broadband and education. This one's going to be broadband and economic development, workforce development. And so that'll be on the 19th at 5 p.m. And you can go to the Senator's Facebook page to get details about that. That'll be going up shortly. We have several folks. We have somebody from Bastrop County who's going to be a panelist, and we have somebody from the Greater Austin Chamber, and then from Paul Fletcher from the Rural Workforce Board, and Tamara Atkinson from the Capital Area Workforce Board in Austin. So we're going to be discussing the nexus of broadband and economic development. So
if you have the ability to write that kind of stuff for those who are memory challenged, and send along as a PDF document of following events are going to occur, we're going to send this out to our members, and here's the miscellaneous notes stuff.
Yeah,
great.
Send it to me.
I'll be sure to send that along. Absolutely.
Thanks so much, y'all. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you again for the club members or anyone. Welcome to our new visitors. Thank you. And again, we'll have our board meeting tomorrow. It's a different Zoom address, but chime in. Thanks to Mike and Susan for stepping up to the plate. And we're looking forward to good things out of there. If there's nothing else, let's do the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
is it the truth?
Second,
is it fair to all concerned?
Third,
will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Fourth,
will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you. All right, we're out of here.
Bring it.
I will. I don't.
That wasn't too many of them.
Could I have you have email technology?
Absolutely.
Of course you do. If you send me that, we can